All right. And so it looks like we have the speakers here. I have accepted their request to speak, but Twitter has obviously given us much more of an issue today than it usually does. So hopefully they get it connected and able and to speak for us, and we can get this started. We are a few minutes late, so we are going to be a little bit behind overall. So I want to make sure we get them over here. We can get to my notes. I have some extensive notes I've been going through to speak about this company, this project. But Twitter is just it's being one of those things where like, nope, we're not giving you the chance. Oh, looks like we got one up. Let's get the other one up. Oh man, hey, it's
Hello,
definitely
can you hear me?
definitely.
Hello.
Hey,
Oh,
we got one. How you
finally,
doing?
finally.
Oh my
I've
god.
been trying to speak for the past 10 minutes straight. Uh,
Yeah, no, no.
I
It's
gotta
definitely some issues.
yeah gotta hit Twitter sometimes or X. Anyway,
Yeah, no, it's very true, man. With all the technical advances that's going on, there's obviously a lot of bugs happening at the same time.
yeah,
All right. Well, I see that you have another person that is
it's
requesting to come
Utkarsh
up.
Amitabh. He is the
Uh,
chief marketing officer.
yeah, I had them come up. I approved them, but they're gone now. So whenever they do come back, they can request, and we'll make sure to get them up. Oh, it might be working. Looks like there's another speaker here, but
Yeah,
it
yeah.
doesn't give me the
It's
name.
Utkarsh.
Okay.
Yeah, Utkarsh, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, he's there. I think.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. I'm hoping so.
Wow,
With all the issues we're
that
having
was a
today.
whirlwind.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know what? I don't want to waste any more time. Let's dive into this. And obviously we'll run it a few minutes past because of the little bit of issues. But let's just dive right into it. So greetings, crypto miners. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome the team behind FireChain, a vibrant community that's been growing. I've actually been seeing you guys trending everywhere. FireChain is a revolution in the making, aiming to reshape the fabric of how you deal with sustainability at its core. And I love that because I think that is one of the huge issues with today's not only blockchain, but just overall model in business is your vision for scaling and sustainability is within a week or two. There's no real future vision of scalability. And what you guys have outlined, you guys' business model, tokenomics, and basically how you guys envision you guys expect the blockchain to be from sustainability is really shown. I can really see from all the in-depth white papers and all the information I was reading. So, if you guys are an in-depth person like I am and like to educate yourself on the technology and the blockchain, take your time, join the socials, check the website. There's a plethora of information. You can literally get lost in it and enjoy yourself reading because there's so much wealth of information. So it's pretty a fresh look, I would say, over the last year with all the memes coming out and all the like one pagers going out. It's definitely a good fresh of breath air to see something that actually has meat and depth and utility for long-term sustainability. So it's really good, to have you guys here. And so without further ado, let's dive into it. Maybe give a small introduction to yourself, um, and a little bit of the team that's behind, the vision, what we call now the fire chain. It's from pronouncing that right? Fire.
Yeah, it's fire.
Okay, yeah, no, I love the moniker. Like when I saw that, I was like, that is an ingenious way to do it. So, but I wanted to make sure I was pronouncing it correctly. So, but yeah,
Of
go ahead
course.
with maybe a small introduction and how you guys kind of
Sure.
came together to build.
Yeah, yeah. Before I do that, by the way, guys, we just literally launched 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago at 12 UTC. So yeah, it's a positive start. The first green candle is in. The mood is nice. So with that,
And you
I'm
know
going.
what? I will
Yeah,
say we have it pinned at the top right now too. If you guys are, familiar with Bybit, you're part of Bybit. They launched on Bybit. They got spot trading campaign going, huge marketing campaign everywhere. These guys are trending. So if you guys want to be a part of it, I would suggest jumping in right now. It is early. And this is your opportunity. So yes, you guys I forgot to mention that as I was opening them. They had just launched it right now. So this is your time to go check it out, do your research, but it is live.
perfect, perfect. With that, thanks a lot, man, for the support. I'm going to introduce Fire a little bit and myself. So my name is Pratik Devedi. and my co-founder is called Pratik Gori. So because of the same names in Sanskrit, we call him PG, and I call myself PD to avoid confusion, which there's always. Uh, and we started this around 2 years ago. My background is mostly into computer science, and then I ventured into marketing, and I started pretty massive marketing campaigns 10, 15 years ago when Google and Facebook marketing were not a thing. I think we were the first ones to start doing those things. And from there, I retired. And also, I bought my first Bitcoin long, long ago for reasons that are absolutely outside the scope of this call. But I bought it, and then I got pretty hooked onto the space. Ethereum came around, and I've always been hooked. And as a technologist, as somebody who has computer science experience, I have always looked at the technical aspect of it. So I always wanted to do something with it, but I'm the kind of person who does not launch a product to just launch a project. If something good comes along, I look at it seriously. So when I met my co-founder PG, he basically is a sustainability champion. He's spoken everywhere from United Nations to Nobel Peace Prize and everywhere in between. And he's been promoting this concept called fifth industrial revolution of the past decade or so. And his concept is that you can do good while you make money, or you can do more good by making more money. And my first reaction to when I was talking to him about it was, man, like, keep me out of your communist mindset. I'm not part of that. But that was because I could not understand the depth of what he was saying. The more I understood, the more I realized that he's not saying don't make money. He's saying make money while doing good. So that's kind of how it started. Most of his businesses he started were also in the sustainability space. And his problem statement to me was that he's impacted millions of people in the world and has made millions of dollars, but he's not able to scale to more than millions of people. And that's where I thought the power of blockchain was so important. And together we started Fire, where we thought that we could build a layer one where the blockchain itself tackles sustainability at its core. So we came up with our new consensus mechanism called sustainable proof of stake, which basically rewards every single validator for sustainable practices. So it's of course like a bit in depth on how it works, but in very layman terms, if you are using water as your energy source and I'm using carbon, you will have a higher sustainability score, and then you will have make more rewards from the consensus. That's how it started, and that's what we wanted to build, and that's what we built. But then, when we started evangelizing and we started going to bigger companies, Fortune 500, governments, we realized that the oracle that we built on blockchain to calculate ESG scores for different actors is very important for especially governments and bigger companies. So now in phase two, we are building a decentralized system of nodes, or I would actually use the word democratized, not decentralized, system of nodes wherein people can add their ESG information, ESG data, and can make money on it. And governments can then use it, because right now most of the data is in silos. It's one of the biggest issues in the space. So our endeavor is to democratize all that data. So that's kind of where we are. We raised $21 million 2 years ago, and then we also raised $100 million on a term sheet around a year ago, which valued us at as a unicorn according to media, but I don't really pay attention to that. And then from there on, we are right now in the process to replace that round with a round which gives us more regulatory authority, because we're talking to a fund which is big enough in a major country in the world, where they can mandate all of our ESG suite of services for every business to use in the country. And I think that's just better as far as we are concerned. So that's where the journey has taken us. And we've just launched. I think I've spoken for too long. I can speak for another 3 hours about this. So I'll take a pause and I'll let Utkarsh introduce himself.
You know what? Right before you jump in there, I want to say, dang, that's exciting. You guys have really built some really great stuff. Like, when you can read stuff, but you kind of look over some of the value proposition that you have there. But when you broke it down there, it really just opened your eyes on what you guys are building and what you guys have been building. It's not like you guys have just been building this, in 24 hours, you're popping it out. You guys have been thinking about it, how to implement it, and what is really needed in the chain. So
I don't even want to begin talking about how many iterations it took. and
Yeah, yeah,
how much money and
I can
manpower
tell.
wasted. Yeah,
But it is definitely, I would say, crazy how much it costs, but it's not a waste because just like Edison said, it took him 47 something times to not know how to not make a light bulb, right? And then he
correct.
finally made it, and it was a success. It might have took him years and money to do it, but he learned, and that education and learning is what's setting you apart from everybody else that didn't spend the time, didn't spend the money in research and development to come out with a product that's a win, right? So the small things like that, it can't be overlooked, and you'll see it in companies that their website doesn't look like a landing page. It actually looks like a website that has depth to it, that has actually been built. It doesn't just look like some HTML or Wix page, right? So you can
Mhm.
definitely tell that you guys have been developing for a while. You guys have been growing and scaling, but the magnitude is it's kind of like it's insane unless you're being explained to it, because I don't even really, just from reading, I don't get that same information the way you explained it. So hands down, that was a really great explanation and understanding of what you guys have been building. So I just wanted to
Thank
give
you.
you a little compliment on that. So
Thank you.
go
Thank
ahead
you.
with yeah, no problem
Utkarsh,
with
please
your
carry on.
introduction, buddy.
Yeah, I'm glad we should probably be doing more AMAs to explain what we do. So I'm Chief Marketing Officer of the company, and we are really focused on evangelizing our is to embed sustainability at the core of organizational practices. And this is something that we've been doing for many years. Where blockchain fit in and where we started embarking upon this mission was to make sure that organizations and people are not able to greenwash their way out of it. So there needs to be a framework for organizations to share what they've been doing on the environment front, document that, and then put forward all the data on the chain that can be publicly verified and so forth. This entire process of evolving has been a challenging one. First to figure out the product, then build a community on top of that, then build use cases. But today, on the day of the launch, we're all very, very excited to see what the community does and how the community engages. The final price is just one of the many factors that we have to be concerned with. But today, I think it's a great day for us to celebrate everybody listening in, our community partners, because the fifth industrial revolution can only be accomplished if the consensus that we built has a community and a product on top of it. And I think as we look at blockchain, we need to have more organizations that have business models that are, of course, token can be one part of it, but it doesn't need to be the only part of it. The use cases that we'll probably discuss today are very important in scaling it.
I agree. I agree. No,
Utkarsh is
that's
being very humble right here. He's been
very, yeah,
a
well said.
sustainability champion for a long, long time. He's worked with in Microsoft for a long time as well, directly with the CEO. So I think he doesn't like to talk about himself a lot, but he is a champion.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And you know what? Humble bringings bring, great things, right? So, but with that being said, yeah, I was thinking about kind of what you said earlier about, that you guys built this entire blockchain, but a lot of the other routes that people have been taking is going with the like it's a layer two, Ethereum because of various things. But you guys have built your own full-fledged layer one. What made that decision to go from, instead of going with the layer two, which has a lot of the foundation already built, and going with your own foundation and infrastructure and building the layer one?
Well, that sort of builds up on my previous answer. I think the most important thing for us was to tackle sustainability at the core level, and the core level of blockchain is the heart, which is the consensus. So, I have a lot of respect for all the other blockchains. Most of the other blockchains, actually, I'll retract that statement. And uh, and what they have done is great, but all the solutions that are sustainability focused, I mean, Hedera is doing some really good work, Solana is doing some really good work, but most of it is sort of reactive, which we wanted to sort of stay away from. So the main decision to build a layer one is so we could tackle the problem from the consensus level, wherein it happens, everything happens at the heart of the blockchain. Otherwise, we'll be just building solutions or dApps that would be catered to sustainability, but would not be building a sustainable blockchain. So that's sort of a short answer on why we did that.
Well said, though. It might have been a short answer, but it was right to the point. Well said. So, um, well, with that being said, you just recently launched your token. It is live. Well, it's been live for a little bit less than 30 minutes. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the tokenomics, the utilities behind it, kind of just the overall business behind the token.
Yeah, sure. Utkarsh, you want to tackle that, and I'll chip in between.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, like it's a big day for us and for the community. And the initial spike just talks about the kind of traction that we are seeing. Later today, we'll publish the numbers, but this is not a numbers game for us. For us, like really finding use cases that that highlight the long term is very important. So I think if you think of fire use cases in the short term, we plan to seed even more organizations for partnerships, for grant funding, and so forth. Our goal is essentially to enable lots of microeconomies to come up that use Firecoins to transact, to enable ecosystems. Think of a game built on top of Fire. Pratik, the co-founder of the company, is among other things also a pretty spunky gamer. So we'll try and do something like that.
Just FIFA,
Just
but
FIFA.
yeah.
So, imagine these microeconomies built out of fire. That will be, short term. In the medium term, we have partnerships with larger organizations. The UN Sustainable Development Goals are impending by 2030. We are all expected to reach them. And organizations will need a framework and an infrastructure to record their work. And Fire is likely to be that ecosystem. At least we'll do everything in our power to make that happen. The last aspect of it would be really long term. And here is where our partnerships with international organizations and governments will be super helpful. So we've joined hands with and supported several governments, including Government of India, University of Abu Dhabi, and a wide range of other stakeholders to really form these kind of partnerships that will enable future developers who will be, familiarized with the Fire ecosystem and be able to build powerful decentralized applications. This is the broader play. Token is the first step towards enabling all of that. And we are very, we want to at least do our best to make all of this happen. We'll have to study the market, observe how the world is changing, and all of that kind of macro stuff. But the challenge of running a company, which is still in its early stages, to look at both macro and micro. And this year has been a hard one for everybody. And I'm really happy that our community has stood by us. And we've also gotten some feedback on how things we can do better. And I think I just want to thank people who stood by us, but thank people who've given us feedback even more, because we may not be able to comment on everything that comes our way, but we definitely give it a read, and when possible. And I think the co-founders, me and everybody on the team, we feel very strongly about receiving that kind of feedback to make us better.
Also, to add to that, for your question in terms of token utility, see, I think everyone's pretty well versed in the layer one utilities. You have your validator tokens. I mean, a lot of the token utility is towards validators because that's the USP, the secret sauce in our blockchain. I would not talk a lot about the other use cases in layer ones because you're very well aware of the stakings and everything, or transaction fees. I mean, what I wanted to focus on is what we're doing apart from that. One of the biggest issues in the blockchain space is that, as much as I said, as much respect I have for the other layer ones, they have not been able to build revenues. So most of their treasuries run because of the token. What we have done is we built something which is important for bigger companies, larger organizations, and governments. So, without taking names, we have signed an MOU with a semi-government organization which deals with all the companies of a particular country. Now, this MOU says that every single time when a company is renewed, they will need to have a sustainability score, much like a credit score. And we have used benchmarking from the credit bureau for pricing for the same country. Now, this every time when they're getting renewed, and twice or thrice in between, they'll be pinging their scores and will be using the fire tokens. If their scores are higher, they'll be able to get lower credits, lower interest rates, more credit. They'll be able to have a lower fees for renewals of the licenses and so on and so forth. This becomes a direct use case for Fire's token. Now, in addition to that, they asked us, what if our scores are low? We look bad. So we propose that we are going to design a toolkit for every single chief sustainability officer to meet their goals, which means we'll not just do the benchmarking or the measurement, but we'll also make sure that we give you the entire set of tools to bring it higher. Now, what could those set of tools be? One of the biggest things could be carbon credits. Now, this becomes a carbon credit exchange for Fire, which then also perpetuates more and more usage of Fire tokens. So what we're trying to do is to build real revenues outside of gas fee, because if you compare the treasuries to what most blockchains make from the transaction fees and other token revenues, it's actually pretty abysmal, and it's very concerning. So apart from all the layer one use cases we can think of, we will do this to make sure that the revenues in the company are as much as possible, which will make the token go up. I reckon.
Right? No, that's definitely the plan, right? You build as qualifying revenue generation ability that you can, and then in turn you hope that the revenue will generate from there. But I want to compliment you guys a little bit because how you said that, you don't hear that in the space very often. In this, I want to make it almost a reality check in my comment. In this time and day, if you rely solely on volume as your startup, you don't have sustainability at your core, which you guys obviously do, because you guys were thinking past that. You guys still have time you need to mature. The only way that projects or companies or chains that make money on the transaction fees are ones that have extremely high volume, because they've matured. It took them years to get there. So I love that you guys, thought that, you guys see that this is not something that's early sustainable. Maybe later on, maybe a year or two from when you guys have millions of people using, the ecosystem and the volumes there, but you need to be able to generate revenue so that your employees continually build and continually work. And I appreciate that transparent, awesome answer. So I just wanted to put that comment out there because, not a lot of other layer one blockchains or blockchains period have really thought about what they can do in the early days that are going to take less effect on the emotions of their investors. And I think that that's a really huge thing that you guys are doing. So
thank you.
Oh, yeah, it's just a little, I like to give compliments to where they're deserved. You guys have been working hard in the space to build, real opportunities for people to come in and not only have opportunities for investments, but also opportunities for builders to build in a sustainable manner. With that being said, you did touch on the node operation. Can anybody be a node operator, and how would one become a node operator by chance?
Well, right now we are in testnet, and you can become a node operator. Of course, you can test things out, but in the mainnet, anybody could be a node operator. But we are signing on and envisioning a lot of bigger companies to come in, because they will have an easier ESG score. But having said that, yes, technically anybody can be a node operator because it's based on substrate.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I only wanted to touch on that part because early on in my days, I was a node operator for some of blockchains, and I had a lot of fun doing it. And it was a really good way to understand some of the technical sides of how blockchains are sustained and continually validate, basically without somebody there. So it's pretty cool. Just a little
yeah, you
something
can be. See, you can be, but to be 100% honest with you, we are still in the process of figuring out sustainability scores for individuals. It is difficult enough to figure out with bigger companies with all the data that we have. So I mean, we are doing more and more research. So initially, it's going to be a bit more, like it's not going to have that kind of spunk that it has for bigger companies in terms of scoring. But we'll try to make it as fair as possible for individuals, so that they can also make the rewards for good practices.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
So basically, your green bill will go a long way.
Yeah, there's even ways where people can purchase their own carbon credits online and stuff. So maybe you guys will have it to where someone has a proof of carbon credit, and that alone earns them an individual GMC score. So, and that's really cool because I think not only obviously crypto is a huge future position that we need, but man, our Earth, we don't have a beautiful Earth to live on what is good as crypto, right? So I definitely
Yeah,
like that. You're taking in the
yeah,
carbon aspect
yeah.
and the GSD rating. So that's
Yeah,
pretty cool. No, I like it. I like it.
I'm more from the George Collins school of thought where he says like the planet is fine, the people are messed. So,
Yeah, yeah, no,
yeah,
100% true,
yeah,
100% true. But I live in a very beautiful state here in the United States, and I've been to other states where people don't have the same laws to clean up
mm,
their cities or their states, and it's abysmal. And it
yeah,
is the people. It's not obviously not the world doing it or the earth,
yeah.
but it definitely I like that when you guys are thinking about it, you guys are thinking about nature at the same time, in a way, right? So I definitely like that. And so, we've covered, I would say, a good portion of the overview of what's going on. But if there's anything I've missed or anything that you think that it's a huge value proposition that we might not need to cover or some opportunities, please let's
I
cover
think,
it because I don't want to miss
yeah,
anything.
I think UA here can mention some of the wins in this journey, which is what we did in terms of. I mean, I've sort of explained the tech roadmap that we built and also what we're building for phase two in the future. If you have any questions, of course, I'm always available. But UA, could you mention a little bit about the partnership that we've done that are already out? Of course, not the ones that we're signing now
Yeah.
with multiple governments and so on. Yeah.
Yeah, as part of, let me give you an example of one. So, in the previous answer, I talked about how we're trying to build the next generation of developers. And we really feel as a company that there is a lot of more uptake in the blockchain space that is needed and likely. So we partnered with Government of India's Niti Aayog to develop a curriculum in partnership with them, which will be implemented in schools across the country in phases, of course. And we also put forward a few research seminars to various schools to test out the curriculum. And we are very happy that with this particular kind of effort, our work on blockchains will be studied by future students. And we want them to be aware of the principles of blockchain and hope that they adopt FIRE as the chain that they build. And we want to create an ecosystem where, from learning to funding to scale, this entire launchpad can happen through the ecosystem that I described. This is done completely free of charge, and we really wish to continue on that path. But in future, it's quite possible that the students end up building really powerful applications, which will help the planet, which will make economic sense. In which case, there'll also be the prospect of creating a monetization engine. So you can see that this is a long-term, multi-year play, but it all happens when governments and private sector organizations work together towards a shared mission. So it is for purpose, it is for benefit, but it's also, in line with the fundamentals of economics and business. Similarly,
Yeah, I
we've
mean,
enjoyed that. Yeah.
the numbers game there is also very interesting because people always ask me what will you do to bring more developers onto Firechain, and I always say that we'll do everything a layer one does, which because we are a layer one, which is all the hackathons. But I don't want to talk about that too much because that's already been done a lot of times. It does work, so it's great. But with this a program like this, wherein I mean, we also have a partnership with Abu Dhabi University along the same lines. So with a program like this, there's a million schools in India that are government schools, and our power is mostly numbers, and the population is very very young. So if you're able to teach or every student in those million schools, even if there's that's 20 million kids learning blockchain, and with that we'll be able to have developers of future, ideas of future building on Firechain, and I think that's as strong or stronger of a narrative than giving somebody a grant or organizing a hackathon, because I strongly believe, because I was a student once and I had crazy ideas. I think the best ideas of the future are still in the head of somebody sitting in a cafeteria in the school in New Delhi. So I think that's something that's a more grandiose plan, a long term plan to bring as many developers in the on chain building for us as possible. So what we're looking for is long term solutions for problems that already exist, or situations that already exist in the space.
You know what? That right there was probably one of the most awesome answers I've heard from a team in a long time.
Thank you.
Only because I'm a big fan of obviously science and education. And I think that's one of the huge problems that crypto has is education from the infrastructure on up. And there are some countries like India, Vietnam, and a few other, I think Indonesia, that are doing big things to where they're offering grants to universities to teach people how to become engineers in the space. But having, I will say, having a company like you being able to foster that development firsthand is huge. So I think that's a really big step for you guys. And I think that like you're saying, teaching someone how to fish is way better than giving them the fish, right?
Exactly,
And
exactly.
the grant is just giving them the fish. Here's the money, build it. No, you're teaching
Yeah.
them how to build stuff from the passion. Some kid that's 16 years old learning, he can grow up to be something that only people dream of being. So I definitely
Yeah.
do like
Yeah.
that. I think that's
And by
huge.
the way, all this
And
is public, so you guys can check out the curriculum on the Niti Aayog. I mean, a Sanskrit Hindi word, so
there you go, right
it
there.
means planning commission basically of the government. So on their website, you could already see the course live, and now it's already rolled out in a few phases. And the aim is to roll out to every single government school in the country.
Like that said, man, guys, please join their socials. If you have questions, you want to learn more, the information's there. They're very transparent. They're very open. It's all there. And they even said jump in their socials and ask questions. They're live. Obviously, the token just launched, so everybody's going to be extremely active. This is like that, the crazy time. So everybody will be active. They'll always be available. And it's a good time to ask questions while it's extremely early. So with that being said, I don't know if you have time. Would you mind maybe possibly sticking around for some community questions? We get a few of them in.
Sure. We love questions, especially
All
the
right.
tougher
So
ones.
I actually like to. What I do is I'll pick a few live, but what I'll do is I actually scroll through some of the comments and I'll read in there because sometimes I'll miss some stuff during the talk or something that I didn't catch. And there is actually one right here that I didn't even think about because I am a little bit technical, but I'm not in depth on some of you guys on the guys' technical stuff. But I did ask, is this the standard smart contract and DApps like Solidity, or is there a different type of like? I know that Rust is kind of popular lately. I just want to know if
It's a
for
good
community
question.
members.
It's a very good question. Well, actually, we wanted to build on Substrate, which is based on Rust. So the smart contract on the native chain is Ink smart contract, which are based on the Rust language and Substrate ecosystems, kind of what Polkadot does. But when we started building this, the biggest problem in the substrate space was that you could not integrate Ethereum virtual machines without having two tokens. And having two tokens sort of creates a whole mess because people have to have two different tokens, one for the Ethereum side, one for the substrate side. So we're one of the few substrate projects that have been then through research, we have been technically able to figure out how to use Ethereum and substrate the same token in the chain. So now we have a native chain with the Ink smart contracts based on Rust, and we also have the Ethereum virtual machine, wherein we can have all your Solidity contracts and deploy all of the same things that you deploy on Ethereum and Binance BSC. And you don't have to switch the token. You can use the same token. I think we're very proud of that because I don't think many projects have been able to do that. So to answer your question, you have both. You have the best of both worlds because I think Ink is superior in many aspects as compared to Solidity, but Solidity is also more popular. So you have both.
Oh, that's awesome. That's pretty cool, and I like that. You guys are alleviating a lot of the pain issues that a lot of the other ones are having. Because when you kept saying substrate, I had a feeling that obviously the infrastructure was Rust because every time I hear substrate, I hear Rust right after. So that's kind of why I picked that question from the community member to kind of just be transparent about that issue. But I love the fact that you guys created pathways for both, right? Because obviously there's a lot of devs out there on a lot of chains that just use Solidity, and so having that pathway for them to be able to come is huge. So moving on to our next one, this is from B, and this is something I usually ask every time also, and I totally just got lost in all of our information in our conversation. I didn't ask, and it's about because obviously community is a big thing, and growing community and scalability. So what have you guys implemented for either like an ambassador program or a referral program? And if you have it, can you maybe explain a little bit about it?
I think you, as the CMO, is a perfect person to answer that. So please carry on.
Sure. So our community includes various elements. So one is a community of developers who came forward and made our testnet a pretty grand success with millions of transactions, many smart contracts being deployed in a matter of weeks. And we've nurtured this community carefully. We've gotten a lot of product feedback from them. The next is we have an ambassador program across many cities, many campuses all around the world. And through that, we're trying to again make sure that our education and awareness and engagement challenge can be addressed, which is true for any company. And we've seen our ambassadors really help. And we, of course, like incentivize them through, external programs like airdrops and recognition and so on and so forth. But we really look forward to people who are energized by the mission of what we're doing. It's easy to energize people by giving them, a kind of a financial incentive. But we want to do the harder thing where, in addition to giving goodies, etc., we really want to double down on our core value prop and see who sticks and what sticks. Our community, manifests across Discord, Telegram, Twitter, and we get, of course, we're active on social media channels. But because there are so many in number, and not all of them are run by us, there are many what you call fire fans of, fire anti-fan community. That's the internet. People will create a lot of these communities. So I strongly advise users to, whenever they need accurate information, they can reach out to myself or anyone who works at Fire, or the co-founders, etc., or check the Fire official handle and the official communities that we run. Because especially around the time of launch, there's a lot of misinformation. People sometimes misrepresent the identities and so forth, and we've had cases around it. But generally speaking, the overall positivity in and around the community is significantly higher than the kind of fear, uncertainty, doubt that you might encounter in other places. And I think this is largely because people value the fact that we are still alive. It's not been an easy macro environment. The fact that we try and speak directly whenever we can. And whenever we make a mistake, we try and come forward and say that, yes, this was probably not the best way to go forward. Let's try and figure out what else can we do. And we have, inadvertently made several judgment errors, but and strive to do even better to come.
I also wanted to add that we have really thought a lot about the advisory board because we wanted to bring community from different walks of life. So we have a pretty stellar, advisory board full of superstars like Dr. Richard Swart, who's helped us with technology. He's the ex-director of UC Berkeley. Then we have the likes of Didier Drogba. He doesn't need an introduction, and probably my childhood, hero as a legendary footballer. We have member of parliaments from Europe. We have the Piali, who's the chief strategy officer of Republic, which is more on the crypto side. We have Dr. Anurag Batra, who's a very senior journalist and head of Business World India. We have Apu Chamaria, who's the venture partner of venture capital head of Google India. So the advisory board is very stellar, and it makes sure that the community keeps on growing from different walks of life, because it's not just about, and I love the crypto degens. I'm sometimes one myself, but it's very important for us to bridge the space between what we call the traditional world and what's our the crypto side. So the advisory board has helped us a lot to grow community outside of what we already see in the crypto scene.
That's amazing. That's freaking amazing. It's crazy. A simple question, and I got an in-depth answer. So hopefully that was a great answer for the community. It gives them an opportunity to, to join in and be a part of the growth and scale that it. But that's awesome. I like how you guys' approach much more different, right? When people always talk about, outreach to the real world, you guys are doing that, but also doing it in an appropriate way, because people that are going to be interested are from schools or campuses, those types that want to educate themselves. So I think that's a huge, opportunity there that you guys capitalized on. So without further ado, let's get to some live questions on. I'm gonna go ahead and unmute Daz. Anthony B&B is his official name. Go ahead and speak whenever you get unmuted. All right, Daz, go ahead with the question whenever you're ready. Looks like you got disconnected.
Hello.
Right when I. Oh, there you are.
Hello.
Hi there.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
There's a
Okay.
little bit of background noise. Do you want to walk into the other room, maybe?
So my question is,
That's better.
could you share some plan for the upcoming year? Which part of the project are you most focused on right now?
Good question. I think as the chief product officer, I mean, Koya, Utkarsh and I will probably have slightly different answers. But for me, it's to build out phase two, which is democratizing the ESG data and data overall around the world. It's not an easy undertaking because we would need to build out, and we're already building our technology, but we'd also need to build out data partners and ensure that people add their data. So I think in the next few months to even a year, I think that's where my focus is as far as the product is concerned. I think the transaction per speed is something that we don't need to worry about right now until we have 100 million transactions a day, because it's we still are clocking without making more relay chains or para chains. We have a pretty good transaction speed. So I think if the network starts getting clogged, I think that will be the next one. But for the next few months, for sure, it's going to be to get the mainnet up and running, and make sure that the phase two is built as we envision it. Utkarsh, I mean, I'm sure you have to add something to that for how the priorities of the marketing team are.
Yeah, actually, in one way, the priorities of our team is going to change, and in one way, it will stay the same. The way it will change is that we'll obviously keep monitoring the engagement on, on the launch, on who's building what on the testnet. But in terms of the fundamentals of investing in engagement in the community, nudging other microeconomies to launching further decentralized applications through our partners, partnering with governments and international organizations and Fortune 500 companies, and creating conditions in which these partnerships can happen will be of our top priority. So we really want to, stick to the basics, because one of the reasons why sometimes it gets harder for companies to succeed is when we don't put an adequate emphasis on the basics. And it's my role to make sure that our long term is preserved as opposed to the short term. So that's something that we are on it, and we would like to continue.
All right, well said. I hope that answers your question there, Daz. All right, let's get another person up
By the way, I
here.
have to. You've been complimenting us for a long time. I have to compliment you. I love this community. I mean, I wasn't aware. I'm sorry, but there's nobody really asking like how much airdrop we're gonna get, which I'm okay with. But the questions are very very relevant, and I'm absolutely loving it.
I mean, yeah, I really appreciate the comment for especially to the community, because right before it started, when we had the technical issue, I was thanking the community for that same thing, for having a great year of AMAs. 2023 was, a hard bear for a lot of people, and to have the people here through that winter and still asking questions, still doing research, joining projects, supporting them. I was thanking them how huge it is and how much it means to me, because I try to tell them I wouldn't be here and the companies wouldn't be here, the projects wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the community and how strong support that they have.
I mean, a
So,
great community
uh,
generally is also a sign of a great leader. I think I'm not aware. I'm sorry, but I can see why the community is so well versed, so educated, because you are also very passionate, and you also always ask the most relevant questions. So I feel
I try my
this is
best.
a breath
Thank
of
you.
fresh air.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you, man. We really do try over here. We try to set a standard that we hope that other marketing and other agencies follow along. But we know that it isn't easy and that you have to be strong and build and do a lot and make a lot of sacrifices. But, you know, obviously it's showing for it, you know, for all the stuff that we've done over the years. So I really do appreciate the kind words.
Thank you.
Uh, Wait, go ahead, Michelle, with your next question. We'll go ahead and we'll probably do one more after this before we wrap things up. But go ahead, Michelle, your question.
We do have an AMA in 3 minutes, another one. So I'll just
Okay,
quickly
we'll
do
make
that.
it real quick. We'll make it real quick. Go ahead, Michelle, make your questions in, and if it's too long, well, then we'll just
Okay.
wrap up from there.
Okay, thank you very much. Just wanted to say, I can see your project is actually doing very well on Bybit. That's a very nice one. So what I wanted to ask is, how do you plan on, spreading the word about your or project, and how can you ensure the community that the project is going to stay for a long term?
Well, I think again, like the company has been always proactive with the solutioning. As I mentioned before, we don't want to take reactive measures. So rather than trying to fix a few things, wherein like we are having a launch, so now let's make sure that everybody buys. Our vision is to build a strong product, to bring in more revenues, to do partnerships like we just mentioned with the government of India, and the one that I was alluding to, which with this country. So once that happens and we have real use cases, I think it's only inevitable that people are going to see what we are doing, because transactions will speak for themselves, revenues and volumes will speak for themselves. But having said that, we're also not doing anything else that is to be done, which is engaging as much as possible with the communities, with ambassador programs, as mentioned. Um, Sorry, ambassador programs or airdrops. I mean, as much as I hate every question to be about airdrop, but those kind of things that every layer one does. Like as I said, the solutioning is very simple. uh, you see what works and you improve it. So we're doing everything else that a layer one does in terms of evangelizing the community, but we're also doing extra to bring in revenues to make sure that the project is there for the longer term. Because we would not be going ahead with trying to educate all the Indian kids if we did not envision something longer term. Or every other big partnership that we're doing is basically a long-term partnership. So that's how the sustenance for the long term is sort of solved. Also, we have found a home, a niche for our chain. So if you see, every chain has a field. Our field is regenerative finance, carbon credits, and you might know that most of these projects. So we just signed a project which has 57,000 kilometers of land in Africa, backed by many big organizations. I think also the United Nations, and they basically are signed on for us because they wanted us to be the default chain. So I think the community will also come, and we'll see that most of the more refi projects, carbon registries, all of these are coming automatically onto Firechain, and sort of finding a niche from over there.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, man.
All right. Well, so right when I went to talk, I had to cough. No, that was an awesome question, awesome answer. Um, Obviously, you have another AMA. I was gonna try to run it a few more minutes because of the small delays, but overall, it was a really great AMA. I learned a lot. It actually opened my eyes about a lot of stuff that I didn't even realize you guys have built and are building, and the value proposition. You've explained it a lot more in depth than I even expected it to be. So with that being said, please, community, you guys obviously seem interested. I had about 20 hands up, a bunch of comments. You guys have been awesome today. So take your time, join the socials. If you have any questions, that's obviously the next place to go. If you didn't get your questions answered here, join the socials, ask your questions. I'm sure they have a plethora of knowledgeable community members that have been testing the platform that can give you information and or the teams there. So, I will say that it has been a breath of fresh air learning about what you guys are building, the team, everything about it. It seems like something that not only is going to be long term, but also hugely valuable for those that are looking to offset carbon, be sustainable, be rewarded in it. It's just a whole aspect that I think is an untouched in the space that needs to come, the regenerative finance, all of that is a huge trending that I think is going to just pick up as the time comes. So I think that you guys are really positioning yourself for success. So I want to thank you guys. It was an amazing time talking with you guys, sharing your guys' passion and knowledge about the fire chain and crypto. And to our amazing community, please join, support them, ask your questions. Do your own research. It's not financial advice, but obviously the bull market is coming. It's best to buy your stuff, invest right now when everything is Black Friday deals. That's what I always call it. But obviously, make your own decisions. It's up to you. But that's just how I always do my buying. Right, you buy low and sell high. This is Black Friday dealing. We've seen the movement in the market really encapsulate over the last few days. So the bull market is coming at any point. So without further ado, do you want to close out with the last minute statements or say anything? Maybe last call to action.
Yeah, thanks guys for listening to us and our ramblings. I I know it's not easy what we're doing, and it's a bit difficult to wrap your heads around sometimes, even for us. So thanks a lot. As he said, please do your own research. Uh, Hit us up on socials if there's not enough time. We're always there. I'm always hanging out in the voice chat in the Telegram group like 3 4 hours a day. So please hit us up and check us out on Bybit. We just launched. I think it's a great time to get in if you want to get in, of course. And I hope to see you guys again. I mean, I love this AMA, so I'll probably be back.
Yeah, we'll definitely be back.
Yeah.
Thank you again for
That'd be
having us.
awesome. Yes, please keep us updated. Let us know about the development, and we'll be looking forward to having you guys on here again to talk about where you
Awesome.
guys are, down the road. So I appreciate it. You
Awesome.
guys have a great day, and good luck on your next AMA, wherever you guys are going. And I hope it's a great one
Oh,
also.
it's Bybit, so it's gonna be good as well.
Oh,
Bye
it's
bye.
gonna be great. I love Bybit AMA. So yeah, good luck, have fun, great day,
Thanks.
guys, and congratulations on a huge launch.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.